Welcome everyone to Franco and Lopez. I'm Franco.
I'm Lopez.
And we are just two friends who let curiosity take the wheel.
2 minutes! 2 minutes away!
We have new followers.
Thank you.
We were curious enough to start a podcast, which is not normal for us.
This is the very first time we ever try something like this. So you might be able to notice how amateur we are, but we're doing our best.
We talked about this podcast and how we're gonna film this first episode and what's to come in the future, how we met and our backstory and what led us here. Mm-hmm. Like, why are we in a room that we clearly didn't clean? I'm just gonna dive in straight to the questions.
Yeah, bro.
So we met as missionary companions, and it was a really interesting time because being a missionary is not a normal thing, you know.
Yeah, and for those who don't know what a missionary is, we are members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Usually boys that are 18 years old, we go out to preach the gospel to people who haven't heard it, and we go and do it for 2 years. We leave our families and our homes, and we go to a completely different place. So we can go anywhere in Africa, Europe, Asia, or even in the United States. Idaho, as it was for us. We did that for 2 years. I started my mission in January 2019 and I finished in December 2020.
I started my mission in 2018 and I finished in 2020 during the COVID-19 pandemic.
So we both served during the same time, but we didn't know each other before.
Yeah, so that's how we met. We met as missionaries, and this guy was my companion. At the time, we weren't really good friends.
Mm-hmm.
And
We're
I don't know.
similar.
What were we?
I don't know. Like we share a lot of things in common.
Yeah.
But we just couldn't really like each other because we had a few things that were different about us.
Yeah, we were different. What did you think when you first met me?
I knew about you just a little bit. I knew that you had a lot of energy. You were crazy. You like to do very crazy things. But I knew that you liked talking to girls a lot.
Even on the mission?
Even on the mission.
What? Interesting. Okay.
Overall, I thought you were kind of cool, and I was very excited to be your companion.
Thank you. Yeah, I was excited to be here too. I was always excited to have someone new. What I thought about you, I don't really know, because the president we had, like our leader, told us I was going to be training you.
Mm-hmm.
But you didn't show up. So at first you were a mystery to me. I was like, who the heck is Lopez? And then you did show up, and we brought you ice cream. But even then, you weren't at the apartment. You were your companion at the time, Polendo. He was like, yeah, the guy's asleep. So I was like, huh, you're still a mystery to me. But then like an hour later, you woke up, and I finally met you. I'm like, oh, finally. And I thought you were just super cool and friendly. Like, you were really genuine and you were authentic.
Yeah. Like, I wasn't going to be rude to anyone who would approach me and say hi to me, because I didn't know anybody at first. My circle of friends was very limited to those who could understand me. And the fact that you spoke Spanish, it made me feel more comfortable and just like talk. But yeah, like that day I was sleeping just because I was tired. I had just recently come to the mission.
Yeah.
So I was tired, and plus I was, getting used to being a missionary, so I was like depressed or just sad, low energy.
Yeah. I mean, you left your country.
I left my country.
Yeah.
So that was a challenge, just like staying energetic throughout the whole day. It was difficult for me.
Mm-hmm. It must have been like a culture shock. You were straight out of Guatemala.
Yes. Coming from, Latin America to the US, I don't know, everything is completely different. To me it was like a new world, because Guatemala is a very poor country. So like coming here was like, I felt like, wow, everything was so advanced technologically or in anything else. So
yeah.
I mean, it was exciting, but also confusing. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I bet. I mean, I just came from here, Salt Lake, and to Idaho. That's not really a big change. It's just like a small version of Salt Lake. It was more country, but you, it was just completely different. You went from a bunch of trees and dirt roads to
first world.
Yeah, first world country, I guess. Yeah. Dang. And at the time I wasn't conscious of that. We got along well until we became companions. And what that means is we get paired together to teach the gospel of Christ, as missionaries. And we have to do everything together. We study together, we ate together, we slept in the same room, we checked each other's phones.
We went to teach people together,
everything. Like the only time apart we had was whenever you went to the bathroom.
Or interviews with president.
Interviews with the president, or if we traded companions just for like a day or two.
Yeah.
But we were always together. And going from friends to companions.
We weren't really friends with
we were acquaintances.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, going from an acquaintance to a companion. It was a different world. I didn't know why a missionary would come out to the mission field and not be as energetic as I was. And back then I was just like in my world, like everything was new to me. And I wasn't really thinking about other people, other missionaries at least. I was thinking of the people we were teaching. But yeah, I wasn't empathetic to the fact that you were new to a completely different country. And that's probably one of the things that made our companionship a little hard.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
And I'm also that kind of person that wants to just go out and preach and talk and just put myself out there. But during that time, I was going through a very hard time. Like, I wasn't really wanting to be a missionary anymore. I was wanting to just quit and go home because the language was hard, the culture was hard. I missed my family, and I feel like we've all gone through that stage.
Yeah. For sure.
At least those who have served the mission. But for me, yes, I didn't really want to do anything, and then this guy came and he was like pushing me to do everything that we were supposed to do. So it was good for me, but at the same time,
it was frustrating.
I took it personal because he had to be the one who told me to do everything that we were supposed to do, or the one who put me on my spot. So yes, so I guess I didn't really see it in the spiritual way that he was making me better, but I just took it personal, and I was like, oh, who's this guy?
Yes, it was all new. Everything about it was just out of our comfort zone, I guess. But then our missions ended, and we were cool. I wouldn't say we were fully developed as friends.
Mm-hmm.
And then we parted ways. I went home, you stayed for a bit, until I moved back to Idaho. And I don't know what happened in your story, but you were already in Idaho. Like, you lived there, no longer as a missionary. And you became my roommate, which was super cool. Like, after that, everything was uphill. We just, naturally became friends.
Yeah.
We forgot our struggles. We just started fresh.
Yeah, so after I finished my mission, I went to Guatemala, and it was during the COVID pandemic, so there was nothing for me to do there, so I decided to just move back to the US, and I was living in Idaho because that's the only place I knew. Then this guy, you came to visit me one time, before we became roommates, you came over. And
I returned to the mission just to see the people we taught, and you were living there. I was like, yeah, I'll see Lopez
for a vacation. Yes.
Yeah.
So
that was actually when I found out you lived there, and when it was time for me to move to Idaho, I remembered Lopez lives there, and that's how we became roommates. You had an extra room, and I was like, hey.
Yeah, you contacted
roomies?
Me. And I was like, sure. I'm like, I hated this guy when he was my companion, but it's been a long time, and plus, we don't have to follow rules anymore, as missionaries. So I was like, yeah, sure, I'd be down to have a roommate. And like you said, everything went uphill because we forgot all of our differences and we focused on the things that we had in common, and we could actually hang out and go out and do fun stuff. So that's why we became friends. I feel like.
Yeah, it was the fact that there were no longer rules. We didn't have to go to bed at 10:30.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't have to wake up at a certain time. And
we didn't have to study together we
didn't have to do any of that.
So every time we decided to do something together, it was because we wanted to, not because we were forced to.
That's true. And we even started going to the gym together. We did everything again together, but this time because we wanted to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And maybe that's what gave it a meaning, you know, because you were there all the time and you were my roommate. So like I felt like I had to go with you, but also like I wanted to. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, it was like you I don't know, you just didn't want to be in the house all day.
Yes.
Yeah. You know, my favorite memory when we were roommates was it was not one that I saw, but one that you told me about. I was folding my laundry in my room. I think you know where I'm going with this. And you were screaming from the kitchen. You were like, Franco, come over here. But I didn't hear you. I was just jamming to my music and folding my clothes. And you were dying. Apparently this guy set fire to the house. And when I came out of my room, the carpet was singed. You could just see the burn marks. And it was up the pantry door. What happened?
I don't remember how it all started. I think I was frying something, then you know the boiling oil, just like splashed everywhere.
Yeah.
And somehow the oil started to catch on fire, and the pantry, the wood, it started to burn. And I was trying to blow it, and but it wouldn't turn off. I don't even know how the whole house started to burn.
Yeah, that's crazy. Like,
and then I grabbed a bucket full of water and just like I threw it on it. And
you were like in serious trouble, burning the house, and I was just folding my clothes like la la la, everything is fine.
Everything is fine.
And that's why that was my favorite memory, even though I didn't see it.
My favorite memory is when this guy was doing laundry, and he grabbed the basket of his dirty clothes and just like leaned it against the washing machine. But then he went out and did something else. Yeah. And like during the whole day, the basket was just like there on the washing machine, but he never actually washed his clothes. He just left it there, and I don't know. It was so funny to me because that represents his personality.
I got distracted and I forgot I was doing laundry.
And whatever comes to mind, he does.
Yeah. We found our differences and we found our similarities, and now we're friends 5 years later.
5 years later, that's all it takes.
5 years. Yeah.
Why are we doing this podcast anyways?
Yeah, that's a good question. Why are we doing this podcast? I guess you and I have, we've struggled. Not only like in our relationship wise, but like in our personal lives, we're not where we want to be. Mm-hmm. And we want to become a higher caliber of a person. And right now we're not that. So since we do everything together now, we're basically brothers. We knew we could help each other out reach our goals. And that's probably why we started this podcast, because we wanted to do it in a way where we're growing, but at the same time help people grow as well, just in life.
I feel like our story is kind of motivational. And we also have goals in life that we want to achieve. Yeah. So as time goes on, we plan on keeping recording and just checking on our progress, how everything is going. And I don't know, we just do this for fun because we feel like somebody will benefit from us just talking.
Yeah, I think so too.
I'm here mainly trying to achieve my goals and fulfill my dreams, but I also want to help my family and just, help them have a better life. Yeah. Not just me.
I feel like you have it harder than me because you're the only person in your family here. And for me, like, all my family's in Mexico, but I at least have my actual brothers and my dad. You know, I have my stepmom, my grandma, you met them. Mm-hmm. But yeah, your story is just super unique. You're here on your own and you're making a living. And the fact that you're sending them money too, it just says a lot about your character, that you really love helping people.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I love helping people too, and that's one of the reasons this podcast is going to be live, because we want to use it as a tool to not only help us reach our goals, but help you guys, the viewers, listeners, reach yours as well. We don't know if these episodes are going to inspire you or if they're going to make you laugh, because we're pretty stupid.
It's going to get better as we go.
Yeah, it'll definitely become better. Like, we do a bunch of stuff that's not ordinary. So that's why I think we'll make you laugh in that aspect. Yeah. But yeah, this podcast will basically be an escape for you to be inspired at the same time. So stay tuned for the future ones, because Those future episodes are gonna be funny.
Yeah, and we're gonna put more effort into them, so
Yeah, definitely.
So they're more interesting, and you don't get that bored.
Yeah. All right. I think this is a good place to go to the next chapter. I asked all my questions. Do you have any?
Yeah. My questions are, during your mission, something I've been wanting to know is, what things did you learn at home that helped you during your mission?
Ooh, that's a good question. I wouldn't say I was like following the rules to a T, because like every now and then we would break some rules, but I was always working really hard, mainly because I did a bunch of sports that developed my mindset to be like go go go. Every morning I'd wake up at 4 a.m. and like lift, and I was very disciplined to not only helping myself but help my team in general. So when I got to the mission, I still maintained that level of discipline, except I couldn't lift weights anymore because my focus became helping people, that I just naturally worked harder. I don't know if that makes sense.
Kind of.
Yeah.
My last question was, what gave you the determination to just not waste time during your mission, to put everything into it?
Because I knew it was only for 2 years, and it was a once-in-a-lifetime thing. And I made a lofty goal. Like, they tell you in your mission that it's not about the numbers, and they constantly tell you that you're there for the people, and you're there authentically to help someone develop their faith in Jesus Christ and stuff. And that was my focus. But behind the scenes, I still had a lofty goal, which was to get a certain amount of baptisms to kind of motivate me to keep working hard. And my goal was to get 30, because the average was like 11 or 12. So I always had that on my mind. Eventually I did make that goal. And that was mainly because every day I had to give it everything I had, I guess. Yeah. I kind of want to ask you those questions too. Like, what prepared you before your mission?
Serving a mission was something I always wanted.
Yeah.
Like, my older brother, he served in Paraguay, and when he came back, I noticed that he was very different. Like, he was more mature, and he was like a motivation to me. But even if he hadn't served, serving was something I always wanted to.
Yeah.
So yeah, when I was called to Boise, Idaho, I was very excited because I was going to learn a new language. I was ready for the challenge. But then some things happened right before my mission and during my mission that just made me lose the motivation. So it became very hard. The way that I finally decided to stay and to work hard and just to be obedient and give my best was knowing that it was only going to be for 2 years. And as time was going on, my English was getting better, so I started to feel more confident in talking. And yeah, I was getting used to the culture and the food.
The food.
So yeah, I feel like just not giving up was the key. Like, because I wanted to go home. Like, after 6 months of being out, I was just done.
It's not easy.
Yeah, but when I decided, okay, I just want to finish. I'm just gonna try to push through, and no matter what, I just want to finish. That helped me, just like, I don't know, become stronger emotionally and mentally.
Yeah.
And I guess that was the key for it. Just deciding.
Heck yeah, dude. You were strong. You stuck to it, and you didn't give up, which is something I've always admired about you. Yeah.
Thanks. Something that actually helped me a lot was remembering why I decided to serve.
Yeah.
And yeah, every time I thought about it, I was like, this is something I always wanted to do, so why would I quit?
True.
So, yeah.
That's interesting. I didn't expect this podcast episode to go on the spiritual route, but that makes sense because that's how we met. You always wanted to serve a mission. Like, how did you first receive your testimony? How did you know there was a God? Because for me it was different. I don't know if you know this, but I didn't have a testimony of the church or God or anything until I was 6 months into my mission. And I think my conversion was
after you did it.
Yeah, it was just, it changed me to the point where I knew, like, holy crap, everyone has to hear this. And that's also why I worked really hard, because like it changed me so much that I wanted other people to feel that. But I just didn't believe it at first. I just went because I wasn't ready for college and because my friends were going. But when did you? How was your testimony developed? Like, how did you know?
Yeah, I don't really know. Like, I started to read the Book of Mormon when I was 16.
Yeah.
Just because I felt prompted to do it, and yeah, like I didn't really believe in it. And I was just going to church because my dad went to church.
Yeah. Just to keep them happy.
Yeah, and because I felt like I had to.
Yeah.
But after I was reading it, I had the same feeling. I felt the spirit, and I felt like it was something good for everyone to hear. So, yeah, that led me to believing in it, and that gave me the desire to go out and preach. So by the time I turned 19, I started to fill out my papers to go on a mission. For me, it was like a process. It wasn't like an overnight thing.
Yeah.
I started to slightly believe to the point that I decided to go out and preach. And then once I went out, I realized that it wasn't what I was expecting. So the kind of disappointment was the thing that put me down. But after a few months, I got used to it, and then I enjoyed it a lot. But yeah, that was just a small introduction about ourselves, and now you'll have like a small idea of what we are and what kind of people we are. Our intentions is just like sharing about our lives and hoping somebody will get inspired from it.
Yeah, definitely reaching new levels of like achieving goals or something. I don't know why I can't English right now, but like achieving our goals and thereby inspiring them. You guys. One thing I wanted to talk to you and them real quick is we want to develop a community basis. Like, it's cool to talk about this in the camera, but like it's cooler to like have the audience tell us their stories, and we can talk about that maybe through the comment section or I don't know. If you can, leave a comment, because we definitely want to get to know you. And leave us questions, because if you leave us questions, we'll be inspired to know what to talk about.
Let us know like what you want to know about us, or if something is confusing to you, just ask us and we can explain it to you as much as we can.
Yeah, true. If you ever want to know his deepest, darkest secrets, just ask. Like, Lopez, who do you like? Or what is your guilty pleasure? I don't know if he'll reveal that to you, but we'll pick out the comments and yeah, we'll answer those.
Stay tuned for the next episode, and we'll try to be consistent every week.
Yeah, every week, Saturdays. What time should we post? Like in the mornings? Because like this episode we recorded this week, but if we post it next week.
Yeah, like noon maybe, or
noon. When do people listen to podcasts? Also, let us know in the comments. Yeah, let us know when you want these episodes to come out. As of right now, I'm thinking in the mornings. Because like people jog in the mornings, they can listen to it, or like they usually clean the house. But yeah, Saturdays, sometime in the morning.